If you're not sure how much fabric you need to make binding and finish your quilt, let me show you exactly how I do that, and it is way easier than you think. Here I have a squared up mini quilt that I need to bind. So I go ahead and find the length and the width, and this one was about 18 inches by 18 inches, so it was a square. And I will be using 2.5-inch binding strips. To figure out how many inches I need total, you just need to add up all the sides of your quilt. So I get out my calculator, and you can add 18 4 times in this example, or I could just do 18 times 4, which is 72 inches. Then you take this number, so the total perimeter of your quilt in inches, and divide it by 42 or whatever the width of your fabric is. Most are 38 to 42 inches. This number here is telling me how many times I need to cut a width of fabric strip. I always round this up to the next nearest number, so I need 2 whole strips. And if you were at like 1.9 or more, I would probably add like a whole 1.1 strip. So if this had told me 1.95, I would probably cut 3 strips because you do want a little extra. I'm sure there are also calculators online for this. You could also search on the internet that way to figure it out. Now, to find the width of your fabric, if you're unsure, you can look up online like where you bought it, and it should say. Otherwise, you can find your 2 selvage ends. A selvage end looks like this. It has like those little holes, and it's the 2 ends of the fabric. So from one selvage end to the other should be the width of your fabric, and this is where you're going to want to base your cutting off of. Instead of trying to cut along that entire 42 inches, I do fold my fabric while I'm cutting it. So I actually have it folded twice here so it fits easily under my ruler, and I can make just one short cut. If you're cutting this way, you'll want to kind of shake it out and make sure that your fold is really straight. And then I do cut off the end here because the 4 layers are all uneven. And then once I have that end nice and straight, I go ahead and cut my 2.5-inch strips. If you don't already have binding fabric and you need to know how much fabric you need, you can figure this out by taking the number of strips you need times the width you're going to have. So mine is 2.5-inch strips, and I have 2 strips that I need. It'll give you how many inches you need. So I need 5 inches of binding fabric, and then divide that by 36 because there are 36 inches in a yard. This is how much I need in yardage to order or purchase at a store to bind my quilts. So I would get at least a 1/4 yard.